Let me ask you a question. Have you ever worked with a leader who was incredibly smart, highly skilled, and brilliant technically, but difficult to work with? Maybe they reacted quickly when something went wrong. Maybe they dismissed people's concerns, or perhaps their mood set the tone for the entire workplace. Now, think about the opposite. A leader who stays calm when pressure rises, someone who listens carefully and understands people, and also responds thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally. That's the difference that often comes down to one critical skill: emotional intelligence. Today, we're going to talk about 5 emotional intelligence skills every leader must master. We'll cover self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, social awareness, and relationship management. These 5 skills shape how you communicate, how you handle conflict, and how you influence the people around you. And here's the good news. Emotional intelligence is not something you're born with or without. It's a leadership skill that you can strengthen with practice. So, let's walk through these 5 skills together. The first most important emotional skill is self-awareness. Self-awareness means understanding your own emotions, reactions, and your behavioral patterns. Many leadership problems actually start here. The leader might think that they're being direct, while the team experiences them as intimidating. Or the leader believes they're staying calm while everyone else sees frustration on their face. Without self-awareness, leaders often create tension without realizing it. Think about a typical situation in the workplace. A production issue happens late in the day. Deadlines are tight and pressure is high. A leader walks into the room already frustrated and starts asking questions very sharply. The team immediately becomes defensive. Now the conversation isn't about solving the problem anymore, it becomes about protecting themselves. A self-aware leader notices their emotional state before walking into that conversation. They might pause for a moment and ask themselves, am I reacting from my frustration or am I approaching this with clarity? That small movement of awareness can completely change how the situation unfolds. Self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence because you cannot manage what you cannot see. Once you understand your emotions, the next skill is self-regulation. Self-regulation means managing your reactions instead of letting emotions drive your behaviors. Leadership is full of stressful moments. Deadlines get missed, equipment breaks down, people disagree all the time, customers complain. In these moments, people watch how the leader responds. Not just what the leader says, but how they behave under pressure. If a leader reacts emotionally, raises their voice, or blames others, the team absorbs that energy. Stress spreads quickly throughout the organization. But when a leader stays calm and composed, it creates stability. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine a supervisor discovers a mistake that could delay a shipment. One leader storms into the room demanding answers. Another leader pauses, takes a breath, and says, let's look at what happened and figure out what we can do next. The difference is not intelligence. The difference is emotional regulation. Strong leaders understand that their reaction sets the emotional tone for the entire team. Self-regulation doesn't mean ignoring emotions. It means responding thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Empathy means understanding how other people feel and see situations from their perspective. In leadership, empathy is often misunderstood. Some people think empathy means being soft or avoiding difficult conversations. That's so far from the truth. Empathy simply means recognizing the human experience behind someone's behaviors. Let's say an employee who is normally reliable starts missing deadlines. A leader without empathy might assume laziness or lack of commitment, but an empathetic leader becomes curious. They might ask, I've noticed things seem a bit heavier with you lately. Is everything okay? Sometimes there's a personal challenge that could be happening outside of work. Sometimes someone feels overwhelmed or unsupported. When leaders take the time to understand what people are experiencing, they build trust. Research consistently shows that employees are more engaged and productive when they feel understood and respected by their leaders. Empathy strengthens relationships, and strong relationships strengthen teams. Social awareness is the ability to read emotional climate in the room. Great leaders don't just pay attention to what people say, they notice body language, the tone of voice, or even the energy in the meetings they're in. For example, imagine you're leading a team meeting about a new process change. Everyone nods politely, but the room feels quiet. A socially aware leader senses that hesitation. Instead of assuming agreement, they might say, "I'm sensing there might be some concerns here. Let's talk about what's on your mind." That invitation creates space for honest conversation. Without social awareness, leaders may move forward believing everyone's aligned when in reality the team feels uncertain or resistant. When leaders pay attention to the emotional climate of their team, they can address concerns early before they grow into bigger problems. Social awareness allows leaders to guide the conversation more effectively and build stronger collaboration. The fifth emotional intelligence skill is relationship management. This is where all the previous skills come together. Relationship management means using emotional awareness to guide the interactions, to resolve conflict, and to build trust. Leadership is ultimately about those relationships. You're working with people who have difficult personalities, maybe experiences, and different perspectives. Strong leaders know how to navigate these differences. They communicate clearly, they address issues early, they build trust through consistency and respect. For example, when a conflict arises between two team members, an emotionally intelligent leader doesn't ignore the problem. They bring the people together, listen to both perspectives, and guide the conversation towards a solution. Over time, the team learns that their leader values respect, fairness, and open communication. That builds the healthy work culture. Emotional intelligence is not a soft leadership skill. It's a foundational leadership competency. When leaders develop emotional intelligence, they make better decisions, they build stronger teams, and they create an environment where people can perform at their best. Let's recap the 5 emotional intelligence skills that we just covered today. Self-awareness is understanding your own thoughts, emotions, and your behaviors. Self-regulation is managing your reactions even under pressure. Empathy means you understand others' perspectives and experiences. Social awareness is reading the emotional climate of your group, and relationship management is building strong, respectful connections. These skills don't develop overnight, but the more you practice them, the more effective your leadership will become. Great leadership isn't just about strategy, experience, or authority. It's about understanding people. And emotional intelligence is what allows leaders to do exactly that. If this topic resonated with you, consider reflecting on one question today. Which of these 5 emotional intelligence skills could strengthen your leadership the most right now? Because leadership growth often begins with awareness, we suggest you start there. And from that point, everything else can grow.